Had a couple questions from folks that are having an issue with iron sights and zeroing iron sights at distance. Now, I'm not sure who taught me this. All I know is I've known it for a long time. I believe it was my grandfather, but hell, it could have been my Uncle Mark. I'm not sure who taught it to me. But on the screen is a kind of a half-assed clock face, and that's what I use to understand zeroing iron sights. It's not rocket science, but if you overthink it, it can screw you. I want you to think of your sight picture and your point of impact as being a clock face. You take your rifle or your handgun or whatever, and you look at it as looking from the 6 to 12. It's a straight line. Now let's say you fire your gun, and your point of impact is up here on the 1. So what you want to do is take your rear sight and move it towards the 7. And what that effectively does is it moves your sight picture from 7 to 1. Now, I'm not saying that if you're an inch to the right, you move the rear sight an inch to the right. That's a whole different ball of wax. It's a whole different set of math skills. It's a whole different geometry. But the general idea is there. It's just like if your impact is at the 11, right? You're going to move the rear sight toward the 5. You use your front sight as the center of the clock, the pivot point of the hands. And you move the rear sight around that pivot so that your point of aim matches your point of impact. I mean, this is the simplest way I can think of to do this. And actually, folks, it's a pen. It's a pen. But anyway, the same philosophy can be used with the front sight. Let's say that you have one of the rare handguns or rifles where the rear sight isn't adjustable. You can't drift it back and forth, but you can the front sight. Let's say you're shooting from 6 to 12 and you're impacting at around the 1. What you want to do is you want to move the front sight to the right so that effectively you're moving your sight picture from the 7 to the 1. You just change the pivot point. Your rear sight is actually staying in the same spot, but you're going to move the front sight to the right to match your point of impact. If it's going towards the 11, you drift your front sight to the left, moving your pivot point so that you're 5 to 11. This doesn't address windage, or elevation, up and down. If you're shooting high, this won't work. If you're shooting low, this won't work. But that does kind of work in the same way. It's just a different plane. And that's a whole different video. That math and geometry and things, that's a whole different video. I'm just showing how I was taught to adjust iron sights for windage, left and right. Just imagine it's a clock face and move your sights accordingly to keep a straight line so that your point of aim matches your point of impact. That's all for now. See ya.